That's why my credit just be jumping up and up and up. Credit is not free money. It's an investment. I'm building my credit, you know? I built my credit off of spending $8 on Chipotle and McDonald's once a month. That is literally the biggest mistake you can make without you doing anything. That's literally what I do. Wrong, false, do not do that. Now that's the date some people like myself will say is the more important date. Hey beautiful people, my name is Peace and welcome back to my channel. I'm 22 years old and I have a 750 credit score, and I'm gonna teach you exactly how you can have it and even higher. If you're new to my channel, hey, hello. On this channel, I do all things beauty, lifestyle, personal finance, and travel. This is another episode of Why Didn't I Learn This in School, which is basically a series on all things related to money, personal finance, investing, and wealth building. I actually started this series 2 years ago and I stopped doing it, but I'm going to bring it back again. So if you wanted to watch the other episode, I'm going to link it up here and down below. This has been a long-awaited video all about credit building, and how I have such a high credit score at such a young age. If this video is helpful in any way, shape, or form, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, but also be sure to share this with somebody else who desperately needs or wants to learn all about credit. I'm going to give you a lot of details and information in this video, so I really recommend you pull out a notebook or your notes app or something to take notes. Our different sections for today is going to be what is credit and how does it work, why do you need credit and when is the best time to build it, what goes into building your credit, how to build your credit, when to pay, as well as tips on paying, how to check your credit score, fees and costs, credit card misconceptions and mistakes people make, as well as credit cards I recommend for beginners. And without further ado, let's get started. What is credit? Google defines credit as the ability to borrow money with the promise that you'll repay it in the future, often with interest. Simply put, credit is trust. Once again, credit and trust can be used very interchangeably. Basically, the bank is giving you money with the hope and trust that you're going to give them back. I like to break things down. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys examples. So, for example, let's say you have $100 and you have two friends that need $100. Friend A is very reliable, very trustworthy, and this friend will always give you back the money, versus friend B. Friend B is like, yeah, let me hold the money. I'll give it to you when I have it back. Back, and she'll hold your money for months and never give you back. And you see that friend going on vacation, going out to dinners all the time. Which friend would you give your money to? Most people would say friend A, because that friend is more trustworthy, because you know that if you give that friend your money, they're going to give you back. That's the same concept of what credit is. The bank is going to give you a certain limit, which we'll talk about later on. The bank is going to give you a certain limit with the hope that I'm giving you this money, hoping that you're going to pay me back. That's all it is. Please give me a thumbs up or a comment down below if that example really helped. And y'all, please remember, no credit is bad credit. Let's go back to the example before with the two friends. But now instead of friend B who's unreliable, we keep friend A and now we have friend C. Friend C is someone who you just met. You want to give them the money, but you don't really know if they're going to give you back the money. Friend C represents no credit. If you don't have any credit, they don't really know you. So it's basically the equivalent of having bad credit. No credit is bad credit. So the sooner that you figure this out and start building your credit, the better. So what encompasses a score? So a credit score is between the range of 300 and 850. And like I said, I'm 750, so I'm 100 points away from 850. I'm pretty up there, okay? I'm doing a little something. For best rates, you want to have a 740 plus. So after 740, you get around the same rates for everything, is what I've heard. But how exactly does a credit card work, you may ask? Great question. When you use a debit card, you swipe your card and they take the money out immediately. For a credit card, it's different because you swipe the card, it's not coming out your bank account, because the bank, the loan issuer, is actually paying for it for you, with the hopes that at the end of the month, after you swiping, you have a balance that you have to pay at the end of the month. When you pay consistently, that builds your credit, which we also know is known as trust. Okay, Peace knows how to pay me back $500. Now I'm going to give her $1,000. Now I'm going to give her $1,500. Now I'm going to give her this, because now I'm trusting that she's going to give me the money back, because she has shown me previous examples of her paying me back. Does that make sense? Are y'all feeling me? Now, I love talking about credit and money. Like, I always put my friends on, so I really just am so excited to finally put my YouTube family on as well. Also, if you do not pay the full amount, that's when interest will be added. Once again, we'll talk more about interest and all that in this video. That's what I'm telling you. Please do not skip any part of this video because I promise you're going to miss something. There are 3 credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and they're different yet similar. So that's why you're gonna get different credit score. That on Experian it may say 720, but on Equifax it may say 740, and different things. So they're very, very similar, especially when you have good credit. All right, next section. Why do you need credit? Some people go through their entire life until they're in their late 20s, early 30s, or whatever it may be, thinking credit is bad and I don't need credit, I don't need to get in debt. But it's not really debt if you're paying it off every month. But you need credit because let's say you want to own a home, or you want to own a car, or even to buy a cell phone, or whatever it may be. They're going to need to pull up your credit, and if you don't have any credit, that's bad credit. So they're not going to trust you, which means they're going to give you higher interest rates. They're going to make you pay more because they don't really trust you. So good credit means better loans, lower interest rates, and just better financial opportunities all around. What goes into building your credit? Great question that you didn't ask. So there are actually 5 things that go into building your credit that make up your FICO score, and they're all weighted differently. So please listen up, and if you don't have a notebook at this moment, please pull out a notebook. The first one is on-time payments, and that counts for 35% of your credit score. 35% is the highest of them all. Your on-time payment record actually weighs the most. And basically, they want to see that you pay your balance off on time. If it's due on the 5th, you want to pay before that or even on the 5th. I like to pay before that just in case there are any discrepancies or maybe any delays or maybe even some holiday closings. Pro tip to make sure that you always pay on time is to set up auto pay. So that way you don't have to worry about it. I'm a little bit type A about it because I have auto pay set up, but a few days before I will still go and pay it myself. But do as you will. Okay, auto pay works. I've used it a few times. That way you know that you would never miss a payment, and because this is weighed the most, you know you got that in the bag. I have never missed a payment, and I don't plan on doing so. Knock on wood. The second segment that makes up your credit FICO score is credit utilization, and that weighs 30% of your credit score. Keep in mind, on-time payment was 35, this is 30. This is 65% of your credit score based off of 2 things, 2 segments. So these are the most important segments. The other ones are important too, but be sure that you have these 2 locked, because 65% is basically 2/3. They want to see that they give you a certain amount of money to spend, but that you are not spending it all, because it looks bad if you spend it all. For example, if your credit limit is $1,000, they don't want to see you spending $1,000. They don't want to see you spending $900. That's too high. Credit bureaus actually say they're going to spend less than 30% of your credit limit. So if your credit limit is $1,000, do not spend more than $300. Do not spend more than $300. There's a caveat to it that I'm going to talk about it later on, but do not spend more than $300. That's what they say. But personally, I don't spend more than 10% of my utilization rate. Because think about it, they say no more than 30%, and I'm only using 10%. That's why my credit just be jumping up and up and up, because I'm using way below what I need to. I'm going to talk more about this in my how to build your credit segment, so stay tuned for that. You want your utilization to be as low as possible, because that's so that you're not really desperate. Okay, this girl is good with money, I'm giving her this amount of money, but she's not really needing it. She's not really, getting herself in crazy amounts of debt. Do not keep a balance. I repeat, do not keep a balance. Pay it off in full every single month. The third part that makes up your credit score, and this makes up 15% of your credit score, is your length of credit history. 15%, which means 65 plus 15, we're already at 80% based off of 3 things. This segment, the length of your credit history, is an average of all the credit lines that you have. So what counts as a credit line? Great question. Credit cards, student loans, car loans, mortgages, and so much more. So for me, I actually got my first credit card 2 years ago, but my oldest credit line is 4 years ago. Why? Because I took out a loan when I wanted to go to Howard, and a student loan counts as as a credit line. So even before I got my very first credit card, I was already building my credit length history because I had that student loan that was helping me. So the earlier you start, the better. And when you open up a new credit line, obviously, since it's an average, obviously it takes the average of it. So right now, I just graduated from Howard, HU. Just graduated 3 months ago, and my oldest credit line for my student loans is 4 years plus. I just got a new credit card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, my first travel card. Let me know if you guys want a video of all the credit cards that I own and plan to own. But I got this credit card, a new credit card last month. So now it's going to take the average of the 4 years and 1 month ago. It's going to take the average of that, and that's about 3 years or so, you know? So yeah, so keep in mind that it takes the average. So if you have student loans, this is one of the few times that it's actually going to come in clutch, because now you have a credit line already going. Yeah, the fourth segment that makes up your credit score, and this is a whopping 10%, which will make 90% altogether. This segment is the total amount of credit lines open. So yes, most people like me will get a new credit card very often because of points or whatever it may be. Obviously, the more lines of credit that you have, the higher your limit will be, because you may have $1,000 limit on this credit card. You open another one, now you have a $2,000 limit, another one, now you have a $5,000 limit, and so on and so forth. And over time, it will increase, but because you have a higher limit, it also lowers your utilization. So using 10% of $1,000 is $100. But 10% of $10,000 is $1,000. You know, so by having a higher limit, you do have more leeway with your utilization. So to be excellent in this category, you want to open maybe 0 to 2 cards every year. You don't want to open too much in a short period of time, because now you look desperate. That's like, why does this girl need so much credit? Is she going to go crazy with the spending? Like, what's the reason? What was the reason? The last but not least category that makes up 10% of your credit score is credit inquiries. Now, what exactly is a credit inquiry? When you apply for a new credit card or a new loan or whatever it may be, they have to run your credit to see whether or not you have good credit or not. Them running your credit, checking your credit, counts as an inquiry. Oh, you want to open this credit card? Let me run your credit. That's an inquiry. You want to open this credit card? Let me run your credit. That's an inquiry. That's why you don't want to open too many in a short period of time, because you're going to have too many inquiries on your report. There are different levels of inquiries that I'm going to go over right now, but keep in mind that because this segment is only worth 10% of your entire credit score, don't focus too much on it, you know? So an excellent for the inquiries is 0, which that's not always feasible, you know? You want to open more cards to get more points or whatever it may be. Good is 1 to 2 inquiries. Average is 3 to 5. Below average is 6. So it's like, why do you have 6 inquiries on your report at a time? What are you trying to do with all this credit, with all this money? Keep in mind that you don't always have to open a new credit line in order to increase your limit. As you're consistently paying off your card and they trust you more, oh, I give you $1,000, you're paying it back, I trust you with that. Now I'm going to give you $2,000. Now I'm going to give you $4,000. So as you're paying it off, your credit limit will be increasing. So you don't have to always open a new card, which is going to have a hard inquiry. Also, there are hard inquiries and soft inquiries. So we've talked about what makes up your credit score. The question now is, how do you build it? I got you. Big Sis Peace got you. There are 2 things, 2.5. 2 really important things that I want you to remember. Repeat after me and type it in the comment section below. Pay on time and pay in full. I want you to actually drop that in the comment section in all caps if you're in this segment. I will pay on time. I will pay in full. Those are the 2 most important things you want to remember when trying to build your credit score. Also, my third tip that I like to include in there, which is what I live by. I live by these 3 tips when building credit. The third one, treat your credit card like a debit card. If you don't have it in your debit card to pay it off immediately, do not swipe your credit card for it. I'm going to repeat it one more time. This is literally how I built my score up to 750 plus. Treat your credit card like a debit card. If I don't have it in my debit card to pay it off right now, I'm not going to swipe my credit card. This sounds so easy, and I don't want to say it in a condescending way, but this really does mess people up because a lot of people think of credit as free money. Credit is not free money. You have to pay it back. So you say, oh yeah, I want a new iPhone. What number are we on again? 15 Pro Max. Whatever. Yeah, it costs $1,500. I only have $500 in my account. Swipe up my credit card. You do know that you have to pay it off. Now you have to come up with $1,000. Personally, for me, I follow the rule that if I can't buy it twice, I can't afford it. So that phone may cost $1,500. If I don't have $3,000 in my bank account, in my debit card, I'm not going to swipe my card. Why? Because most people say, oh yeah, I only need $1,500, save up for it, and then they swipe the card. Well, now you're back at zero. Now you have to save it up again. I went off on a little tangent, but if you don't have it in your debit card to pay it off right then and there, do not swipe your credit card. So y'all, take my 3 tips to heart. But how exactly to build it? There are actually 2 methods. You can actually build it with somebody's help, or you can build it by yourself. So to build it with somebody's help, you want to find someone who is trustworthy, but also someone who has good credit, someone who's making the payments on time, 700 plus. Okay, you can ask them if they can add you as an authorized user on their card. Authorized user basically means that your credit will now mimic theirs. That way, they have an 800 credit score, they put you as the authorized user, and literally in a month or 2, you also have the same or very similar to that without you doing anything. So if you have an uncle, a friend, a loved one, a parent, a grandparent that has really good credit and they want to add you as an authorized user, please ask them to do so. As an authorized user, you don't actually even need a credit card of your own. If you don't trust yourself, just ask them to add you as an authorized user and you don't need a credit card. So that way, they can do all the hard work for you. They can help you build a credit card without the fear that you're gonna go crazy and be swiping their card. Please ask your loved one that question and let me know what they say. Once again, someone with good credit. Now, if you don't want to or have someone who can make you an authorized user, you can actually build your credit on your own, which is what I did. The only thing is, like I said previously, no credit is bad credit. So there's really no one that's going to trust you with a credit card, with a credit limit, which is why in the future segments that I have, I'll tell you guys about credit cards that are great for beginners that have no credit. But for most of these beginner credit cards, when you don't have any credit, they're gonna ask you to create a secured line, and that will be your credit limit. What exactly is a secured line? Basically, imagine I'm a bank. You have no credit. I don't really trust you like that to give you money for you to pay me back. I don't really trust you. So what can I do? Okay, I can't give you my money, but if you give me your money and you start paying that off, now I will trust you enough to give you my money. I'm gonna repeat it and phrase it in case that wasn't clear. With a secured line, you put down money, and that money is a credit line. Okay, I'll put down $500. Now, that $500 is my limit. And like I said, you should spend no more than 10%, but if you really want to push it, no more than 30% of your limit. So with 10%, like my way, I'm not going to spend more than $50 on that $500 credit limit. And over time of me constantly paying it off, now the banks will trust me. But okay, I see you paying off your money. Okay, now I trust you enough to give you more. Let me know if that makes sense. Like, give me like a fire emoji or like a handshake emoji if I'm making sense. Like, I love talking about this because it really does help, especially black and brown people who are not taught about financial literacy. So let me know if this is helping in any way, shape, or form, and who you're gonna send this to. After like 3 to 6 months of you paying off your secured line, now you can apply for unsecured line, like normal credit cards, where you don't have to put your money down because now I trust you. Now you can apply for a Bank of America card with their credit line, or a Chase card, or Amex, or whatever it may be, because now they trust you. And that's actually how you move up in the credit card rung ladder, so to speak. So spend less than 10%. You can literally do anything. When I first started building my credit, I was a little bit scared because I didn't really trust myself without going crazy on my credit card. So I would literally just get one thing. So once a month I would treat myself. I was in college, I had a meal plan and whatnot, but once a month I would treat myself and I would have like Chipotle, frappe. Back then it was what, $8. It's not very healthy, it's not very good. I don't like spending money if I don't have to. By me doing that once a month, that was my way of putting something on my credit card, something that I knew I could pay it off right then and there. That way I could build my credit. Yo, I built my credit off of spending $8 on Chipotle and McDonald's once a month. That's how I literally built my credit. That's it. It doesn't have to be too crazy. For me, it was like, okay, I'm treating myself, but also it's like, it's an investment. I'm building my credit, you know? So something small like that. Go get a Starbucks drink once a month. Like something small. Oh, let me go do this. Small things. We are coming along very nicely. So when do you pay? As well as tips when paying. I'm going to differentiate between a few important things. First, you're going to hear about your due date and you're going to hear about your statement date. There are two very different things that confuses people, and I want to make sure that you're not confused. Your due date is when your balance is due every single month. It does not change. Your due date is on August 8th. On the 8th every single month. 8th every single month. You have to pay at least your minimum balance on that day. So let's say you owe $400 on your credit card and they said minimum payment is $25. The minimum payment is how they get you, because the minimum payment is how they make you pay interest over time. But let's say, okay, minimum payment is $25. You may owe us $400, but you only have to pay $25 this month for it to be considered on time, which, like we mentioned, is 35% of your credit score, right? So most people will pay $35, so that way it's cool, it's on time payment. I paid it on my due date. Now that may be the 8th for your due date, but a few days after your due date is something called your statement date. Now that's the date some people, like myself, will say is the more important date, because that's the date that your balance will be sent over to the credit bureaus. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, all of that, right? That's the date that they're sending it over. Now stay with me here. Yes, you paid $25, your minimum payment, on the 8th, on the due date, so it's on time. However, let's say your credit limit was $500. Remember, your balance was $400 minus the $25 that you paid. So now your current balance is $375. $375 out of a $500 credit limit. That is, hold on, $375 out of a $500. That's a 75% credit utilization. And that is what's going to get reported to the credit bureaus. So yes, you paid it on time, but you still have a high statement balance on your statement date. So it's really not helping you. It's actually harming you. So what I recommend you do, a little tips and tricks. You want to pay it in full, like I mentioned. Remember? Pay on time, pay on full. You want to pay in full. So if you have a $400 balance on your due date, pay it in full. Pay off $400. But also, do not spend anything until after your statement day. It's due on the 8th. You pay off $400. So now on the 8th, your balance is zero. On the 13th is your statement day. So you have 5 days where I want you to not spend anything if you can help it. So that way, $0 will also get reported back on the 13th. Back to the credit bureaus. That's literally what I do. And earlier I mentioned a caveat about me not spending more than 10%. And while that is true, if I keep a balance for some reason that month, I don't make them report more than 10%. If my credit limit is $1,000, during the month, I can max it out. But I know that before the payment date, and definitely before the statement date, I'm gonna pay it off down to zero. Why? Because of my third rule. If I don't have it in my debit, I'm not swiping in my credit. Are y'all feeling me? I feel like I'm so aggressive right now. But it's not even aggressiveness, it's really just passion, because I'm very passionate about this. All this to say, pay by your payment date, but don't spend it until after your statement date, so it reports back as a low utilization. The next thing I want to specify about paying is minimum payment versus full balance, which I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. But like I said with the example with the $400 and paying $25, your minimum payment is the $25. So let's make it low, so that way you can, pay it off and feel good knowing that you still have a big balance left to pay. And that's what's going to get reported to the credit bureau, and that's how they're going to get you on fees and interest and whatnot. But yeah, paying the minimum means you carry a balance, which we don't want, because like we said, we're going to pay in full. But that means you're also going to have to pay interest, which we also don't want. Next segment, how do we check the credit score? There are free methods and there are also paid ones. I don't use the paid ones because if it's free, why would I pay for it? So let me tell you about the free ones. You can use Credit Karma. Once again, there are 3 different bureaus, so the score may change. They will, not even may, they will change. But also, in the different banks that you have, they will have an opportunity for you to check your credit score. Now, I always look at my FICO score because that's what most people look at. This big banks and whatnot, not, they listen to the FICO score. I have one Discover card and 2 Chase cards. My Discover card is the one that shows my FICO score, so I always look at that one because that's the one that most of people will look at. But yeah, so Credit Karma, which is free, but also different banks that you use. If you're using Chase or MX or whatnot, they'll have a little segment where you can check your credit score for free. Next segment, fees and costs. Now, most credit cards are free, so there are no annual fees. However, others have an annual fee, basically a fee that's charged every year, hence the name annual, for you to be able to own the card. Like I said, I have 3 cards. My second Chase card is the Chase Sapphire Preferred because I'm working on Chase Trifecta, which let me know if you want me to make a video about that. But it's my Chase Sapphire Preferred, and that has a $95 annual fee. It's my 3rd card that I have, and it's the only one so far that has an annual fee. It's actually on the low end because most of these cards, they have $395, $495, $595, $550, and so much more. So my $95 one is my way to get my foot in the door, but you don't have to have a card that has an annual fee. But I'm using this card. This card is really good for travel. And you guys know I love traveling, so that's why I have the card. One of the reasons. Another fee is called the late payment fee. We touched on it earlier, basically using the example that we used previously. If your payment date is on the 8th and you don't pay it, not only will you be charged interest and whatnot, you're also going to be charged a late payment fee. Now keep in mind, not only is that a fee, but this also harms your credit score because the biggest component that makes up your credit score, 35% is on-time payments. You don't pay on time, your score goes down. That's a big portion, but also you get hit with the fee, and you still have to pay it, and you still get hit with interest as well, which is the next definition that I have, is interest rate, also known as annual percentage rate, APR. Basically, that's applied to the balance that you carry every month. We are coming along. If you're with me and you're liking it, drop a hashtag almost there. Our next segment is called credit card mistakes and misconceptions. Number 1, some people believe that they have to carry a balance every single month in order to increase their credit score, and that is not true. You do not have to have a balance every single month. Pay off your credit card in full. Those are my 3 golden rules. Remember, pay on time, pay in full, pay what you can actually afford. So pay it off in full. I paid off my card in full because I didn't want any interest or any fees or whatnot, and that's how I was able to get my credit score to what it is right now and rising. Don't play with me. This is just the beginning. I'm shooting for that 800 by the end of the year. Number 2, it does not hurt to check your credit score. It's actually good for you to check your credit score so that you can see the status and if you're on path of what you want to do, especially when there are things that are free like Credit Karma and so on and so forth. I check my credit score pretty frequently. I should not check it as frequently as I do. I should not, but I do. So check it for free. It's not gonna harm you. It's actually going to help you. I'm like, okay, I'm getting closer and closer because I'm almost there. Almost there. But yeah, next thing is having more than 1 credit card is not bad. Okay, I have student loan line and I have 3 credit cards. When people hear that I have 3 credit cards, they think I'm irresponsible with money or I'm in debt, and I'm not. Well, I am in debt, but not because of credit cards. I'm in debt because I went to Howard. Okay, like I said earlier, the more credit lines that you have, if you want it and if you can manage it, the higher your credit limit, which means lower utilization, which ultimately helps your credit score. But you have to be disciplined. It's all about discipline. The next misconception is some people think, oh, I'm no longer using this credit card, let me close it. Wrong. False. Do not do that. That is literally the biggest mistake you can make regarding your credit cards. Do not close any credit lines. Remember one of the 5 compartments that make up your credit score is length of credit history. So if you have a card from 10 years ago, don't close it. That's going to help you. That's your older credit limit. And if you close that, now your credit limit is shortened drastically. Right now, my Discover card was my first credit card, and I don't really use it that much. I use my Chase cards more often nowadays, but occasionally I would throw something on my Discover card just so I can keep that credit limit going, just so that you may not close it out, but if it's inactive, the banks can close it out themselves. Okay, so I just throw something on there just to keep it active. Next segment, credit cards that I recommend for beginners. These are not the top, highest, best credit cards for everyone to open. These are credit cards specifically for beginners that have no credit. The Discover It student card, which is one of the credit cards that I have, is the most famous one, and it's amazing. They even have, if you have good grades for the semester, take a screenshot of that and you actually get cash back. I actually love the card. I just wish I had a higher limit, and because I don't, I tend to use my other Chase cards that does, but like maybe I don't have a higher limit because I don't use it often, so it's like a catch-22, you see. But yes, the Discover It student card is a perfect starter card. I also recommend Journey by Capital One, the Chase Freedom Student. I have the Chase Freedom Flex, and I plan to have the Chase Freedom Unlimited to circle out my Chase trifecta. But Chase is an amazing bank and ecosystem to have, so the earlier you're able to get set up with them, the better. So having the Chase Freedom card is a good choice as well. I mean, they're all good choices, and that's why I'm recommending it to y'all. The Capital One Quicksilver, the City Custom Cash. But also another one that people always forget about is you can actually open up a credit card with your debit card bank. So for example, my debit card is in Bank of America, and if I really wanted to, I could have opened up a credit line with them. Why? Because I already have years of history of owning a debit card with them, so we have a bit of repertoire. They kind of trust me a little bit. They can see the back end of everything, so you can open up a credit card with Wells Fargo if you already have a Wells Fargo debit card for years, or even Chase, or so on and so forth. So don't knock your bank's credit cards. They might actually be the one for you. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was long and lengthy, but I hope you took a lot away from it. If you made it this far, you are a real one. So I want you to drop down the credit card emoji and what you learned from this. This video was very long to script, film, and edit, so please leave a comment down below if it was helpful in any way, shape, or form. It boosts the YouTube algorithm and pushes it out to more people that need it. So please, please, please like this video, comment, but also share this with somebody who needs this information. If you guys want more videos in my Why Didn't I Learn This in School series, please comment down below whether you want the list of the credit cards that I have or saving, all that good stuff. Let me know. I am so excited to make more of these videos, so I hope now you are able to build your credit from 0 to 800 plus. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, peace out.